The villainess who cares only about magic circles enters a political marriage with the crown prince to read an ancient grimoire. Episode 3. Finishing ladyship lessons in record time. The Marquis of Sylvain employed only the finest private tutors. Etiquette, history, language, music, dance. Experts who were well known in the capital were gathered for the sake of their 5-year-old eldest daughter, Lysette. They are all proud educators. Although she is the daughter of a marquis, she is only 5 years old. They plan to begin with games and teach her the basics at a gentle pace. Just like that, everyone was smiling calmly. That leeway was shattered within 5 minutes of the start of class.
Thank you everyone for joining us today.
Lysette stood in front of the 5 teachers lined up in the drawing room. Her back is straight and her hands are folded elegantly in front of her. By appearances alone, she was an exceptionally well-mannered 5-year-old lady. If only for looks.
This is a private matter, but I have personal research that must proceed without delay. Therefore, I intend to complete the entire curriculum you have prepared for me within 1 week, beginning today.
The teachers looked at each other. 1 week. The whole course. Completely. I understand the words. I don't understand what it means. If I may, Lady Lysette. The elderly female teacher in charge of etiquette and manners smiled kindly. It was the patient smile of an educator indulging a 5-year-old's adorable ambition. A lady's education cannot be acquired overnight. Even walking and bowing require daily repetition, as well as disciplined training of the mind. Completing everything in 1 week is simply impossible.
No, it's possible.
Lysette answered immediately.
Walking and etiquette are, in essence, optimized body movements for specific social situations. Adjustment of joint angles, center of gravity movement, and muscle output. All you have to do is process them as physical calculations and reproduce them as determined. Repetition is necessary to imprint the movement into your body, but for me, seeing it once is enough.
Why, yes. The female teacher's eyes widen. Before her, Lysette delicately lifted the hem of her dress, drew 1 foot back, and bent her knee. It was a perfect curtsy. Angle of the spine. The way you tilt your head. The spread of her dress. How to lower your gaze. All of them are flawless enough to be used, as they are at a royal palace soiree. These are not the movements of a 5-year-old. It was as if someone had compressed an experienced lady into a smaller size.
The purpose is to express respect for the other person while observing aristocratic custom. Understood. The angle must vary according to rank, so please submit a table of those differences later. Etiquette and manners are complete. Next, please.
Oh, it's over, eh? The female teacher nearly collapsed. Behind her, Marie covered her face with both hands. It has started. The young lady has been acting out of control since yesterday. A little later. The next 6 days were a nightmare for the tutors.
Next is history and language. Please give me the text.
Yes. This is the history of the founding of the kingdom and the basic language of the neighboring country. So, young lady, are you able to read it just by flipping through it?
The elderly scholar in charge of history and language let out a scream. Lysette was flipping through a thick textbook at a speed that made it seem as if she was copying it with her eyes. A person looking from the side cannot tell whether the page is being read or just being blown by the wind.
A historical timeline is an organization of knowledge. All you have to do is connect cause and effect relationships and store them in your memory. Language is even simpler. All you have to do is connect grammatical rules with vocabulary and assemble them in your head. I have finished reading this volume. Please test me.
That's impossible. Then summarize the significance of the Silver Covenant of founding year 214 in the neighboring country's language.
The Silver Pact is a treaty in which the two countries signed a military alliance and shared magical resources in order to prevent the spread of monster damage on the northern border. It established the foundation for the great magical barrier that followed.
Her answer was delivered fluently in the neighboring country's language.
By the way, there is a logical flaw in the third clause of the treaty at that time regarding the distribution rate of magic power supply. I would correct it like this.
Not only was your pronunciation perfect, but you even pointed out the flaws in the treaty.
Yes, I'm done. I'll read through the rest of the history and language texts by tomorrow morning. Next person.
The scholar's eyes rolled back and he collapsed. Marie's stomach pain has progressed to another level. Dance time was even more ruthless.
It's a waltz step, 1, 2, 3. It's a repetition of shifting the center of gravity and stepping. It's a mechanism that responds to the opponent's movements in a predetermined manner.
Lysette perfectly reproduced the steps that her teacher had shown her once.
Stepping on your partner's foot results from inadequate spatial awareness. If you always track both positions, no collision will occur. I have now covered every basic step pattern. Next.
The dance teacher cried against the wall.
What about my 20 years of training?
One could pity him, but he had simply met an impossible student. A little later. Meanwhile, the only time Lysette stopped walking for just a few minutes was during the music.
Piano? No, in this world it's called a keyboard harp. It's a mechanism that plucks the strings and makes sounds by pressing the keys.
Lysette sat in front of a beautifully decorated keyboard instrument. At first, Lysette assumed it was merely a task of pressing the prescribed keys, according to the score. The reflexes she had trained into her fingertips in her previous life remained intact. She sight-read the simple piece her teacher set before her without missing a single note.
That's wonderful. However, young lady, it's not enough to just play music accurately. You need to add emotion and resonance to it.
I don't understand the point of adding an element of uncertainty called emotion. The least amount of errors will occur if you follow the musical score.
No. So it's about the resonance of the chords.
The music teacher sat next to Lysette and tapped several keys at the same time. A resonant chord rang out. The rich chords vibrate the air in the drawing room. At that moment, Lysette's hand stopped.
What is the current waveform?
Lysette's eyes widened as she stared at the keyboard and the lingering resonance in the air.
Sound is interfering. Single vibrations overlap to create a new wave shape. Wait, isn't this vibration pattern quite similar to the wave of magic?
Subconsciously, Lysette played back the same chord that her teacher had played. The air trembles. Sound interference behaves according to laws similar to magical interference.
I see the structure of chords, dissonance and consonance. This is an excellent experimental stage for testing the resonance and repulsion of magic formulas with sound. If I replace the musical scale with magical wavelengths, I may be able to test interference between new magic circles without using any magic.
Lysette's light purple eyes sparkled.
Teacher, could you please provide me with detailed information about the range of this instrument and the rules for chord composition, in particular about the waveform changes as the diminished seventh chord reaches its resolution?
Lady Lysette has shown an interest in music for the first time. Yes, of course. I will teach you as much as you wish.
The music teacher was moved to tears. That joy didn't last long.
Once you provide the materials, I will analyze the rest myself. It was a fascinating discovery, but direct research into magic circles remains my priority. I now understand the structure of music, so I will conclude my practical lessons here. Thank you very much.
Only 15 minutes. Music classes were also forced to end. A little later. And a week later. In the drawing room of the Marquis's house, tutors who had lost their souls were lined up.
Mr. Marquis, unfortunately, there is nothing left for us to teach Lady Lysette. Young lady has gone beyond being a genius and is now a concept. After hearing the exhausted tutor's report, Lysette's father, Marquis Silas, merely said, "I see."
Then he took his headache medicine with a trembling hand. The exhaustion of adults has nothing to do with Lysette. She declared in a cheerful voice to Marie.
It is finished. As promised, I completed the entire ladyship curriculum in record time. We agree that I have now fulfilled every duty imposed upon me, correct?
Oh, young lady. It's true that all the teachers went home saying, I don't have anything to teach you anymore, but
Marie staggered to her feet, feeling dizzy.
you may have acquired the knowledge of a lady, but your heart, or perhaps I should say your emotions,
Emotions are output as needed.
I'm saying that's no good.
Lysette turned on her heel, looking at Marie, who was crying.
Then I will now begin my research.
Ah, please wait, young lady. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's time for tea. Today, young lady's favorite baked sweets.
Later.
It was an immediate answer. This exchange would be repeated for many years, first in the Marquis's household and later in the royal palace.
It's time for tea.
Later.
This was the beginning of a fruitless battle.
Now all the troublesome matters have been taken care of. Now it's time for the real thing.
Lysette's steps felt lighter than she could ever remember, even across both of her lives. Her destination was the east wing of the Marquis's residence. She stood before a heavy oak door and placed her hand on its knob. The library of the Marquis Sylvain's house. A treasure trove of knowledge that contains hundreds of magic books and literature, passed down from previous generations.
First, I will drill every foundation of modern magical theory into my head.
Lysette's eyes lit up, and she pushed open the library door. Episode 3, Finishing Ladyship Lessons in Record Time. The End.